Thank you.
Okay, over to you. You're on the bright side.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Allison Bruning. I have 20 books on Amazon. I have one children's book and I have nonfiction and fiction. I am originally from Ohio, but I live in Texas. And my books take place in Ohio. And my children's book, Hoppy's Grave, is about a young man named Hoppy. And it is a story that I grew up in at church camp. And it was a story that had been passed down for generations, but nobody had ever written it down. And I really felt like since the church camp was being sold, that it was a story that needed to be preserved. So I asked my friends and our elders if it was a story that I could write down. And everybody was like, oh, yes, Allison, please, please, please write it down. So I did. And Hubby's Grave is about a disabled man. He had a kink in his back, so he's always limped back. And he lived in the forest in a cave. And nobody knew where he was from. Nobody knew how he got there. They just knew that he lived in a cave. And every spring he would come and he would go to Mansfield, Ohio, and get his provisions. And every fall he would go to Mansfield, Ohio, and he would get his provisions. And he loved the animals of the forest. And he would go and he would get his provisions. He would go in the cave, and everybody knew that to look out for Hoppy because Hoppy would come. Well, one spring he did not show up. And they waited for 3 days and he never showed up. And so they looked all over the forest and they never found him. Well, what had happened was in the winter, he found a fawn and the fawn did not have his parents. So he took the fawn into his cave and he laid on top of the fawn to weigh the cave. But the fawn died and so did Hoppy. So Hoppy gave his life to the fawn. And when Hoppy didn't show up that spring, the people went to go look for Hoppy. And they found him in that cave and they buried him. Now, the trees of the forest for several years after they bent. And you can see it when you go there. This is a real story. And this is why everybody at that camp just loves this. The trees continued on for years, being bent over. Well, the Boy Scouts bought that land and they had heard the story and they went to Hoppy's grave and they tried to bother his graves, but the bees chased the boys off and stung them so bad. And then they chased the boys off, stung them. The boys never went back. Then it got sold again, and it got sold to the Lutherans, who made it into a church camp. Now, Hoppy's grave is not marked. You have to know the story to know where Hoppy's grave is. But it passed down generations. The story passed down, and now I was told about it, and I thought it was the most amazing story. So I wrote it down, and now the Lutherans have sold the camp, and nobody's told the story anymore. The story's not being told. So I thought this is amazing. I own a publishing house, so I decided I'm going to publish this, and I hired an illustrator, and it is now found on Amazon. So you can go buy Hoppy's Grave on Amazon under my books. And I know another story there, but when I talked to the rest of my friends and stuff, they said, please don't publish it. Fleming's Falls is not a real story. We don't want the slanders to go anymore. So I decided not to publish that. And so I don't only do that, I also am an artist, except I didn't do the art for that one. The other books that I have, I do the art. I did the art for the covers of those. But uh, I just love preserving art. I love preserving history. The other books that I've done the history of the Shawnee people from their perspective of Ohio history. So the storybooks that I tell are from the Shawnee's history of Ohio, in fiction and nonfiction. And I've taken my genealogical history of Ohio and I've written them in storybooks, and you can find those as well. And the another thing that I do is I teach kids how to write. And after they've learned how to write, I give them the option of publishing their stories. So I publish them through my publishing house, Crimson Sparrow. And I have had four kids publish their books through Crimson Sparrow.
Mm.
And I still offer that to kids today.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Very good.
Wow, wow, wow. That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I'm an
So
educator. I am